I heard a counselor once say, the beginning of every divorce is that sentence. Like, be more like me.
Wow.
As opposed to going, hey, you are very different from me. That is actually what attracted me to you. And we need to keep celebrating that and finding ways to be together in that moment.
Hi, everyone. Come on in here. Let's talk it out together. You're ready for a first because the Talk It Out podcast is where my friend Erin and, of course, our friend Joyce and other wonderful, lovely ladies often come in to talk about the topics and the things of our life. We leave nothing out. We're so honest. We talk about God's word. But today, rather than the lovely ladies on our couch, we have two handsome gentlemen joining us.
Wow. I don't know about handsome.
Just the manliest man.
But would you repeat that part one more
You
time?
are looking
just
very
for
manly
everybody,
on the
I think?
pink couch.
Yeah, y'all look so pretty over there.
We do.
Thank you.
We
Pink
do.
really
We had
suits
this
you.
flown in. We don't do interviews without it.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's our one thing.
Kind of our thing.
Yeah, it's on
I
your
like
writer.
it. I like
It's our
it.
writer. It's the only thing on our writer.
Dave Barnes, John McLaughlin from the Dadville podcast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, of course, both of you, songwriters and musicians, wonderful careers on your own. You are not a duo all the time. You have your own solo
I've
careers.
tried for years, but John just won't do it.
No. No means no.
Maybe we'll work through that, dig into a little bit
you.
today.
I'll lay down if you need to.
We have tissue. You're good.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll
good.
do what you need.
Good.
Today, though, we're going to have fun because we've been having a series called What Are You Thinking? And it's all about thinking in line with what God's word says. But today we're going to focus a little bit on how men and women think differently. Mm-hmm. And I think there's going to be some great stuff that's going to come out of this. No, I firmly believe this, and Erin knows this about me, because I do tend to not be the stereotypical woman as far as thinking goes sometimes. So we're not stereotyping.
Yeah. No.
It's not
We're
that.
free.
Exactly.
Let's just see where the day goes. Let's see what we
Exactly.
say.
But there are things in general that make a whole lot of
Sure.
sense that we can
I feel
talk
like what's
about.
going to happen is I'm going to share my feeling, and the three of you will all share the similar thoughts.
Well, you may be surprised with two artists that we're like, okay, first, I just want to echo
Yeah.
that sentiment. Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm the one on the outside just saying, like,
Just
I need
staring.
some duct tape.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this first. Tell me about Dadville. Where did that come from? Why a podcast on being a father?
Well, really, it came from. So Dave and I are both dads. Let's start there. And
Set the foundation.
Thank
we
you.
live right across the street from each other in Nashville, Tennessee. And so we would often, almost on a daily basis, just be like sitting on our porches talking about like, oh, Luca woke up at 3 a.m. this morning, or Sammy, we can't find him, whatever.
It's a very real conversation.
It's actually not a joke. I don't know why you guys are laughing. It's serious. And so one day I come over to Dave's house and Dave was like, hey, would you want to do a podcast together called Dadville? And in that moment, I was just like, why are we not already doing it? Let's do it. Yes,
right now.
let's do it. So that was
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago or something like that. And we started it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it has been a blast.
We notice it so much of the time that we would spend with our friends. You really are talking about your kids so much. And I think
Yeah, it's
that
true.
may be surprising for some people to hear, but for our community of dads, like and friends, so many times the conversation at some point shifts to how are your kids doing? What's hard? Or, what do you learn or whatever?
I think that's so great because it is a little bit anti-stereotypical because you think about moms sitting around talking about the kids and the things that's happening in the family. But I love that the dads are doing that. It's so important.
it is.
Yeah.
And, stereotypically, you might think you're talking about sports or whatever else. And those are good things too.
Grills.
Yeah.
Your grills. Your yard.
Your grills.
Sport.
Yeah.
How's
All
the
of us.
lawnmower
Where
doing?
is Sam? Those kind of questions.
We'd like to
that-
circle back to that one. every
Yeah,
now
we
and
did.
then.
Did you find
We
Sam?
did eventually. A neighbor,
So.
true story.
He looks like Sam.
We were hanging out. The women, our wives were inside talking, and we were in charge of the kids. And this is,
yeah.
5 years ago.
This
This
was a
is
while
like
ago.
he was young, and we were in the middle of some conversation, and a neighbor walks around with my youngest, and we're like, oh, and looking up, and I think the women had just
my
walked. And we're like,
goodness.
Yeah.
and so it was like if they had brought it, we'd have been like, no, we got. But they were like, we're like, no, it was that whole, is this yours? And I was like, yeah, what? Because you're not just stay there and push him toward me where the women can't see. So,
I had that happen with my puppy once, but that's different.
well, that hurts when you say it that way.
We had this happen with our son too, and my husband was in charge as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's a
my
theme.
son comes in, he was about 2, and he walks in from the front door, and I was like, "Where did you come from? Why are you alone? It's dark."
Yeah.
Okay, but what was the birth order? Like, was this your oldest, or was this
It was the
your
oldest.
It was the oldest.
Does that not fit?
Well, when it's the youngest, it's like, well, yeah, of course you're going to
Yeah,
lose the
I
third
I mean,
one.
things are looking really bad for
could have
Peyton.
started a
Yeah, I know,
life
right?
Yeah,
as
she's
a
in
third.
trouble.
He could have started a life, and I wouldn't have been worried. Like he's
He'd
so
have been
well.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets a third.
He's
He's
fine.
Well,
fine.
how much older was he when you found him?
Touche. And time for a commercial break, I think, isn't it? Okay, good.
That's good. That's good. So far, you have the trophy.
He had a beard and had a job at Home Depot, so that was exciting. Just to make
Extra
more money.
income is great.
That's
That's
For
right.
the family.
When you're the third kid and you want to
Another
eat,
income stream.
make some money.
Oh, my. Well, I have to tell you this, John, because I read that you are from Anderson, Indiana.
Yes. And you even said Anderson. For
I
people
am
who
from-
don't know anything about Indiana, I just say Indianapolis.
I know Anderson. I do that too.
Which
Yeah.
is such a
I
lie.
say-
It's,
I mean, that's
it's
so
straight
far
up.
away.
I mean, let's not get into the lies I tell strangers. But anyway, you were saying.
That's a different episode. We'll
That's
do
a
that
totally
another
different
time.
episode.
Yeah, I'm from outside. I'm from between Muncie and Anderson.
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
What are we talking? Yorktown? What?
More
Newcastle?
like Delville, Cowan.
Yes.
I love that area.
Oh my gosh.
So great, right?
It is a
You are-
vacation mecca.
Drive there now.
worth
If
it.
you're listening, drive there now.
Go to
Worth it.
DelvilleTourism.net. They're about to get that website set up. It's not quite set up.
They've been working
That
on it
is
for
so crazy.
several decades.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So little bit in common there. Well, Erin also has a little bone to pick with you. Another
Yeah, I've been
personal
saving it up.
story.
Sorry, we're just going to pick
I
on
feel
Dave
attacked
for John.
right
Yeah,
now. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Sorry. We'll do you next
That's
time we
okay.
talk.
I'll try to.
Yeah, don't worry. You got hours.
Next trip. Go ahead and lay down.
This is very important for you to know. I remembered yesterday we played your song in our wedding recessional. Perfect.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
You lied because that
Well,
marriage is
we've
not
already
perfect.
Established his
We went
inability.
down the aisle expecting perfection.
I wrote that song I was young.
You weren't married yet, were you?
I was not. No. I was not married.
You
No.
should go back and write that as like an addendum.
Part,
Yeah, part two.
Perfect
It's in a
part
minor
Still really
key.
great and it gets better,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not perfect. Almost perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
I
want to
don't
lay
know.
that
My
out there
wife
as
and
we
I have done it
start.
perfectly. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
just
we're not like you all yet. The bar is high.
Well, that leads us right into how men and women think differently.
Look at you.
So
Look at
let's.
you. That was so well.
this is a
I
pro.
would love to hear from the two of you some of the areas that stand out in your mind. Dave, why don't you go first because we've been picking on John.
Yeah.
What are some areas that you would say, generally you see difference in the way you and your wife or whatever woman you want to pick on think?
Gosh, this feels like a comedy bit, just slow boiling in my brain.
True. Dave's going to do bits now for the next 20 minutes. Then I'll get to an
Have
answer.
you ever noticed? No, I think for me, the thing that I have found, and I think I probably noticed the most, is that Annie, in her brain, is always managing 100,000 things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she knows everything about the kids and how their days went and why somebody cried and how something went well and somebody, and she's just everything.
where they are.
Where they are. Well, you know what? I feel like it's probably time for another commercial break. It feels, but she's just, it's her sort of 30,000 foot view is so enormous and how she's managing everything. What food we have, it's just crazy. It is crazy to me. And I feel like I'm just one more thing she's managing. It's like, can I get a little time? I had a hard day too. Okay. Okay, let's start at the beginning. And then I think that's one of the biggest things that I notice is like, I just don't, I think guys in general have a really hard time doing that kind of macro thinking, or macro managing.
It's just different.
It's different. It's different. And so that is something I think the longer that I'm married and the longer we have kids, I'm just like, that is just miraculous. And I think that's just a gift that a lot of women have is just this ability to sort of like take everything and put it into place and keep the thing moving, where I think, men tend to be a little more where they are at the moment and then they're where they are next at the moment. There's not this sort of like, and that's, not to stereotype, but I do think that's pretty consistent I've found with our friends. And we've talked about on the podcast a lot, just like, you guys just do such a good job of those things and keeping it somehow all together. You know what I mean? Like, if that were me, the minute the kids are in bed, I'm just crying on the couch and like, shoving bonbons in my mouth. But it's kind of like, okay, another day down. And I'm like, this is incredible. You know?
And that's why I think it's so good to talk about this, because it really does help us to see each other's strengths. Because, every time someone has something they can do well, somebody else has something that they do well, and we balance each other out and it helps. So what are some of the things you see?
Amy, my wife, she has such a great read on everybody. Like, how's Erin feeling right now?
Yeah.
Are we looking at Erin? Because she's sitting over here. Make sure you distribute, all that kind of stuff.
I love her.
Oh my gosh.
About her.
She is the
She
best.
sees you, Erin.
She sees me and she's not even here.
I came in to that relationship with 0 on that whole scale. And I care
like
about
an
people.
emotional intelligence.
I'm not a jerk. Yeah, I had no emotional intelligence. She's operating at such a different level when it comes to that. And I feel like maybe where it becomes, with our girls, we have 2 girls, 8 and 10, and she is just like in it emotionally with them. Whatever they're going through, she is empathizing at just 1,000% with them. And I feel like I am as well, but it's my ability, if we're going to call it an ability, to turn that off.
Beautiful empathy right there.
And not be too in, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm able to switch back and forth to see it objectively.
And this is again why I think I love doing the podcast so much, is because both need to be celebrated. It's not about that women are better than men because of that. I think we offer this great different thing in those scenarios. Like, I think there may be a consistency and a sort of like,
Absolutely.
That where, a mom is handling a lot and get where dad can be kind of like, hey, and the kids go, okay, like here's, and while it may not be the empathetic depth that there's a need for a less empathetic depth sometimes. There needs to be, we can just have this conversation and thank you, and it's more informative, we move on.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to mom for the more, and that's not every relationship, because I actually am much more emotional than my wife, but her ability to do that is much more intense than my ability. And I think too, I was going to add, because Amy's like this too, I'm always marvel at the thoughtfulness of my wife, and Amy's the exact same way. Like, she has taught me a billion things about, just like the other day we're leaving it and she's thrown together this flower. She does flowers for people in their quarters, but in 2 minutes. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I know I think she's had a good, well, and it was just to go swim at somebody's house. She walks up and the woman is just like, I just needed this today. And I was like, how did you know to do that?
Yeah.
But it was just like a 2-minute decision, throw a little thing. It's a cute little vase. She wraps it up. And then I'm like, that is so good to, like watch her do and
really
go,
cool.
I should be more like that.
And the thing with that is that it's not that we wouldn't do that. It's like I would do, if I could help you out, like you need to borrow a lawnmower or something like that. Actually, side note, we used to share a lawnmower for a while. And we still share a weed eater, I think. We do. Anyway.
So I hear these similar things at home, and I believe my husband when he tells me this, but he's not sitting here, so I'm just going to ask you too, if it's real. Like, you really just don't think that way? You're not just saying that because it's a good answer.
Because somebody else has it covered?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know that I'm going to do it, so you just pull back because you know you don't have to? Or does it really just not, do you all not think about it the same way, where it's just like it's in us for the most part? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it an excuse or is it reality, I guess?
Well, I will say, I will, like Nate Bargatze, the comedian, has this great bit where I was reminded of it when I was like, I know where the school is, where the person calls him, the school calls him.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he's like,
So funny.
I'm going to butcher this, but he's like, you called the dad? You saw 2 numbers and you're like, let's roll the dice on the dad. I bet he knows. And then he ends the bit with like, you know what? Just tell me where the school is. I'll come pick her up. So I'm like, I'm aware that like, I'm not going to be that dad. I'm going to like, I know what's going on with their schoolwork. I know what, I don't want to be completely checked out.
Yeah.
I'm not one that's like, I just don't think like that. So, Aim, you're going to have to handle all of it, and I'll try to show up if I can. It's not that, but when this happens every single day, we'll be out in the neighborhood. This happened just 2 days ago where Amy sees someone at a restaurant. She goes over and hugs this woman who I swear I've never seen before in my life. And comes over, and of course I've met her, and she's like, don't you remember that our kids were in ballet 5 years ago? And I'm like, you haven't seen that woman in 5 years? And you remember her kids' names and what's kind of generally going on in their life? Like, I am speaking the truth when I'm like, I don't have that in me. I don't know how to, I don't know how to do that.
Well, let's do this because, we're setting this foundation for the fact that men and women are different in many ways and for many good reasons. And, this is how God created us. But it helps us to talk through it and to figure out how to manage some of these things. So we're going to listen to a little bit from Joyce right now as she teaches on some suggestions from her own life of how to kind of handle it all and some ideas to get through it.
We have gazillions of thoughts running through our head. And the Bible teaches us that we are to cast down the wrong ones and keep the good ones. That's your real life, not the life around you. It's not our circumstances that really make us unhappy. It's the way we think about our circumstances. It's the way we talk about our circumstances. It's not even really the people in our life that make us all that unhappy. And I know there's a lot of people that give you a hard time. Don't think that I don't ever deal with any of them, because I do. And I can tell you this, the more I think about what's wrong with the people in my life that give me trouble, the harder it is for me to like them and be happy with them. Try taking a piece of paper and maybe your spouse or one of your kids, whoever it is that's around you that's become like a thorn in your flesh, your mother-in-law, your mom, your dad, your neighbor, whatever. Don't sit there and look so innocent like you love everybody. I know you don't. You're like, take a piece of paper and go ahead, write down what's wrong with them. And then next to it over here, start thinking of everything that you can that's right with them. It ain't gonna be that hard. I can find stuff wrong with Dave, and he's just close to perfect. We all know that. But you know what? If I just think about the things that Dave does dishes. He does laundry. He steams my clothes after I wear them if we're out on the road and I need him to. Now, in the other column, he plays golf a lot. He watches football a lot. One lady came to Dave at a book signing we were doing last week, and came to me and she said, my husband so appreciates you. Because of you, he now gets to play golf 3 times a week. Dave loves everything that bounces, but I got a little scared last week because I caught him watching a fishing show, and I thought, oh no, please tell me we don't have to add fishing to all the sports that you love. I don't think I could take that. So if I just focus on the things I don't like, do you know sometimes people get divorces because they focus on the things they don't like? Dave and I have been married 48 years, and the only reason we've made it this long is because we've both learned not to focus on what we don't like. Because I can tell you, no matter who you get, there's gonna be stuff on both sides of the ledger. Did you hear me? I said no matter who you get, there's gonna be stuff on both sides of the ledger.
So when you listen to everybody's story, everybody's life, we all have those things that we can kind of decide, they're different and I don't like it, or they're different and this is how we can pull it together and it's a good thing overall. Joyce was saying that, something about playing golf 3 days a week. I think she'd be thrilled if Dave only played 3 days a week because I think it's a lot more than that now. Yeah. So
it's a lot.
Whatever.
She's like, the days of 3.
Right, the good old days. But those are those things that, we can choose to focus in one way or choose to focus in another. There's a study that I was reading is talking about how men and women's brains physiologically, when they do scans are actually just different. And it was really interesting. It talked about the fact that the amygdala in a woman, which remembers emotional memories quickly and intensely, it's more intense for a woman because that area of her brain is larger. And a man's brain is larger by 10% overall. So that our brains are just different. Now, I do want to make the point, though, it says very specifically, does not impact intelligence.
Oh, sorry.
I'd love to push back a little bit on that.
But I can't think of an intelligent argument.
So that said,
That's so great. And it does also talk about what you guys were talking about, the fact that women's brains are different in the way the two halves interact and the way that we think about things generally and pull things together.
Yeah.
And men's brains tend to be more like compartments or boxes, the way that don't always touch each other, the way that you handle things. Yeah. So anyway, it really is very interesting.
We just had this conversation the other night. We'd been traveling over the weekend, our family. And so we had some family stuff happen. And so we got in bed and I was like, hey, Mike, let's talk about your feelings. And he was like, Erin, I don't have any feelings. Let's just go to bed. And I said, no, we need to process this. And let's just talk about your feelings. You'll feel better. And he was like, I'm fine. And I don't have any feelings to process with you. And so I made him, and then he did because I was right. But I just want to put that out there for a second. But it was so fascinating to me because he really was fine. And I needed to process the feelings that he had, but he really had compartmentalized it and probably would have dealt with it another time. But I couldn't have gone to bed if we hadn't talked about how he was feeling. So it shows me something like that in there. It was just our brains were so different in how we saw that.
That is interesting. I will say, one of the things that I love about Amy, because I often feel like Mike in certain scenarios where I can, depending on what it is, it's like I don't feel like I have a lot to say on it. But I feel like part of me working stuff out is listening to Amy talking about how she feels about something. Because again, whatever scenario is at hand, she has experienced that dinner party or whatever on a different level that I've experienced it. You know what I mean? So she's pointing out things and, just the nuances and complexities of all these interactions that I'm like, how did you notice all that? And how did you know that so-and-so was whatever? So it really is part of how I sort of almost like metabolize experiences that I go through.
That's a good way to explain it.
Is hearing her walk through all that.
I think some of it too, to your point, Erin, it's like, I think being a singer-songwriter, you kind of have to be well-versed in emotion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so John and I both, and what's, funny is a lot of our friends are too in Nashville. So, we're all pretty emotional guys. Like, I would say we're pretty in touch with how we feel. But I will say this.
Don't let the tools and the muscles fool you.
I mean, I know you're looking at this going, how can he be emotional too? But I am. It's just, it's a weight that I carry. And on these strong shoulders. No, but I think the thing that I have found, because I really like to, in general, I like if you said, how do you feel about something? I'd be like, I can tell you, but there is an exhuming of those things sometimes. And I do think sometimes women's access, that sort of brain where everything's connected, there's like, oh, it's right here. It's right here. Where a guy's like, you got to give me, you're pulling it out of the deep, and they're there, but it's just work to get them up. And once they're up, it's like, oh no, I'm mad. And then I was, I'm sad and all these things. Yeah. But I think sometimes for me, which it's funny, the older I get, I'm like, I'm turning into Everybody Loves Raymond. But like, we'll be on the couch because my wife is more of the like, black and white, like take charge, and I'm more of the like emotional of the two of us. But she'll say like, how'd you feel about that today? And I'm like, okay, yeah, just let me get there. And I'm like, isn't that funny that I have to sort of take a beat and go, I just don't want to talk about this right now because I think it just takes work to get there. And it's not that it's not there.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, it's because once we started and I kept pulling,
it's there.
It was like 30-minute conversation about how he felt. So
But
there was not.
I just think for men, it's like I'm gonna have to pull a lot of stuff with it to kind of
it's in
get
there.
it from the bottom of the ocean up to the ship, you know. But it's there. It really is there, and I think that's those are the feelings I feel in those conversations. I'm like, gosh, I just don't want to do the work to get to it right now. I'm just like, I want to watch TV and go to bed because, you know, and just feeling things. I think too, you know, vulnerability is tricky for men, and so I think the minute you start talking about how you feel, all of a sudden you're wide open to like, oh boy, now these are real emotions.
Well, and there's that layer of sort of what's acceptable and what's expected of you. And I think it's not that we don't have the emotions and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that we can't, and I'm painting with a large brush here for the point of it. It's not that I can't keep track of relationships and stuff like that. And so at school, what's their dad's name? I can't remember, all that kind of stuff. But it's more, if I don't know their name, that's one thing. If Amy doesn't know their name, after a while, I think it means more.
Yeah, the currency
has more
is different.
currency.
Yeah.
And we are just, I think dads are just given more, there's a lower bar.
I mean, I haven't figured out, so I do stand up intermittently, and I've for years tried to figure out how to make this in a bit, and I can't, which shows why I only do it intermittently. But but it makes, John and I have laughed at this, it makes me laugh every time. Every time I'm with one of my guy friends and we're having like a real conversation, you know, like the other day I had a great breakfast with a buddy and we're out walking to our cars and it's like, it really is like, man, okay, I'll be praying about that. I didn't know. And he's like, yeah. And we can end conversations immediately. Like there's no, it's like, oh gosh, well, I hope, the scan gets better. All right, see you. And I'm like, and you did, I mean, like we're just, and never the twain shall meet. Like I'm going and then we'll see. But it makes me laugh because there is something about a man's brain that works that way. It's kind of like real serious conversation, very connected communal conversation. Yeah. And immediately it ends. And we're like, I'm not thinking about it anymore, nor is he. And we're in our cars driving to where.
And we're going to be,
because you didn't do it right. No, her feelings are hurt.
And we're going to be calling each other 5 minutes later to say, back to what we were talking about, or texting the rest of it, or following up. Remember that conversation? You know, that.
It's just, I never feel different. More like a barbarian. It's like, really like, I pray that she gets better.
You should commend yourself for even having the conversation.
I know.
That's true.
What happens all the time is I will go hang with some friends, some guy friends. We'll be together for 4 hours. And I'll get home.
Oh, yeah.
I get in bed and Amy's like, how was it? I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so fun. And she'll be like, so how's Scott's leg? And I'm like, I don't know.
He has legs?
He had both of them, I guess. I didn't see the lower half of his body. I don't know. She's like, you guys didn't talk. What'd you talk about? And I'll be like, we just kind of did bits the whole time. We
riffed for 4 hours.
And so, I mean, it'll just be like, so you don't know about Jess's scan yet? Or
remind me who Jess is for fun. Just for fun.
Jess is the one with the hair, right? Is that her? She's just like, what did you do for 4 hours?
We have that conversation every week, every Thursday.
Well, there are all these tricks too that you learn about with guys and how they communicate. Like, you know, they say that for men to have deeper conversations, it's easier side by side. Because there's not the intensity of staring at each other. So you'll find that like car drives are great, or sitting at games, or whatever, like watching a
couch.
game. Yeah, on the couch.
There you go.
That's
this is great.
Yeah.
If we face each other, we both just zero out.
Too awkward.
Yeah.
Which I think about that all the time. I thought about that yesterday. We're standing in front of our house, my house, but one day we'll both own it together. And I notice it all the time since somebody pointed that out to us, that I'm noticing like we're not facing each other. We're both like this, and I'm kind of pointed this way. You're kind of pointed that way, but we're not looking at anything. We're talking, but there's just too intimate. No,
it's just the opposite. Erin and I were in a meeting the other day, and I was sitting on a couch, and she came in. The whole couch was empty, and she practically sat on my lap. You know, we're like, we're so happy to see each other.
All the men in the room did this.
Yeah, it made everybody else uncomfortable.
All right.
Well, let's do this. Let's check back in and see what Joyce has to say about more of this, because it's such a great conversation. And I think it's really important that we can kind of dig in and find solutions that work with us and our relationships. So let's see what she has to say.
So it says, the measure of thought and study that you give to the truth that you hear. Well, what about if what you're hearing is not the truth? What about if we meditate on the lies, the deceptions that are in our mind? What about if there are strongholds in our mind and we never even knew anything about the importance of our thoughts? I lived a lot of years with my mind full of lies and I didn't even know they were there. And I was a Christian who loved God. I was saved. I believe I would have gone to heaven if I would have died, but I can tell you one thing, I had a pitiful life. And I don't think that gives God glory. I don't believe it glorifies God if we go to church every week and we have pitiful lives. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't go to church. Even if our life is pitiful, we should go because that's the only place we're going to get help. But we don't want to stay that way. And it was because I was meditating on all the wrong things. And a lot of it got started when I was little. My dad would say to me over and over, you will never amount to anything. You will never amount to anything. You will never amount to anything. And because he was abusing me, at one point in my life, I started thinking, what is wrong with me that he wants to do this to me? Because I was pretty sure it wasn't happening to all the other people that I knew. And I cannot even tell you how many years that lying record played in my head, what is wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And then because my personality was a little bit goofy and weird, even people would say to me sometimes, what is wrong with you? I remember after Dave and I were married just a few weeks, he looked at me and said, what is wrong with you? And I'm thinking, oh. You know, we have such a tendency to compare ourselves with other people. And we assume if we're not like them, something is wrong with us. Well, that's a lie. But if you meditate on that, then it becomes yours. It becomes your reality, and you take that into yourself. So whatever you meditate on, be it the Word of God or the lies of Satan or wrong things that people have said to you, what are some of the things that your parents or other people that you wanted love from said to you maybe 20 years ago that still is like a broken record playing on the inside of you? You can get rid of that by beginning to think and speak what God says about you. My gosh, you have no idea how wonderful, how powerful, how talented, how anointed, how special you are. I mean, it just makes me want to get up and run the building when I think about what all God has said about us in His Word.
One of the things that my husband and I really had to learn is how differently we think about some things and how to navigate it. And it's taken a little bit of time. He and I kind of are polar opposites. Like, he's the engineer and I'm kind of the creative. And but that's outwardly. On the inside, we're kind of the other way around. Because like you said about you and your wife, he's much more emotional in many ways than I am. And so it's just an interesting dynamic that we really had to figure out. So when we first were married, we would need to talk through something, have a discussion, argument, whatever it may be. And he would want to do it like on the couch with his arm around me. Oh. Or holding my hand.
Sorry. That's terrible.
And I'm like, I can't do that. Yeah. You know, I need a little bit of space to work through some things. And he would feel like that was a rejecting kind of thing. Yeah. Like, no, let's do this together. Of course we're going to do it together. You know, I'm not going to scream or walk out, but you know, we just
I need room in case I want to.
Exactly. Right, yeah. I might need to jump up and pace a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, just learning. We think differently. Our childhood, like Joyce is saying, has taught us different things. And we have to figure those things out over years.
You know, it's so interesting, and you said it well. I think the longer that you are married, you hopefully we learn this. I feel like I'm learning this, is you really do have to hold space for each other. And that sounds really ridiculous because, like, well, of course you do. But my temptation is to always say, hey, be more like me. Like, be more like me.
I think
whether
everybody
that's
has that.
The way my man brain works or just whatever that thing is. And I heard a counselor once say, the beginning of every divorce is that sentence. Like, be more like me.
Wow.
As opposed to going, hey, you are very different from me. That is actually what attracted me to you. And we need to keep celebrating that and finding ways to be together in that moment.
Yeah.
And so I think what's so hard about that, especially as men and women, is, you know, our culture, and here we go, I'm not going to be that guy, but there's just so much communicated to us. Again, it really is why we want to do Dadville. that says like, there's that commercial that Brian Regan does a bit about where like the husband's caught in the drapes and the woman's like, if he only knew, and it's a vacuum, whatever. You're just like, because the guy's the big dumb oaf and the woman's like exasperated and smart, which may be sort of true and why that's funny. But, the culture is going to shove these narratives down our throat, which just makes us more at odds.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because women, why can't you be more like men? Or men, why you can't be more like, or why? But instead, and it really is the work of marriage is to go like, you need to be you. That's why I married you. And God is making you more like you. Hopefully you're becoming more holy like he is through sanctification. But that's going to be at odds with me sometimes in really beautiful and bad ways. But we have to navigate that together. And I think the thing that helped me so much was instead of going to Annie for this sort of end all be all, which she's never going to win, is going, only Jesus can do this for me.
Yeah.
And that was a huge thing for me, which sounds really ridiculous after so many years of marriage, but I really did have to come to this point where like, oh, this is what I'm doing is I'm going to Annie and going like, you got to make me happy. Like on my bad days, whatever magic you got, whatever that looks like, make me happy. And it was our relationship only works at its best when Jesus has his place in it.
Yeah.
And I think when he doesn't, I'm going to her going like, I had a bad day, or I'm really frustrated, or I'm sad,
I
or
have a
whatever.
need.
Yeah, I have a need.
You're the one there.
Fulfill it. And she's like, ooh, this is, which is not really is a struggle of hers, which that's fine.
Yeah.
In a marriage.
Yeah.
But it's been so helpful because I can be fully me, I can be fully Dave, I can be fully man, she can be fully Annie, woman, all the things that we're both made to be, stay in our places and yet still be together in those moments.
That's such a great point because instead of that sentence, be more like me.
Yeah.
It really needs to be, I need to be more like Jesus.
That's right. That's right.
And, that's what we're all hopefully striving for.
Right.
Because the other wrong thing you can say is you need to be more like Jesus. Because it can't start with fixing them either. It has to be what's happening on the inside.
The other thing that is so crazy to me is, this idea, and this was another, talk about marriage blew my doors off, was this idea that like, as we grow and as we are sanctified and become more like God, God is going to change us. And I mean, like, change us. Like, and that's the bait and switch of marriage in such a holy way, is that God's like, you meet your spouse and you're like, you allow me to be who I want me to be. And then you kind of shake. And then God's like, got him. Because then he starts changing you. And there's going to be years where you go to him and you're like, hey, you're not who I married. Yeah. And God's like, bingo. And you have to go, oh, well, but I'm not who you married either. And so it's this fascinating thing of the way God works on us is that, I had a counselor tell me once, like, oh, I've been married to one woman and I'm on my probably fifth marriage. Because it changes.
Right,
it changes and changes. Because you may have married your husband going, hey, these are the needs I have. And he's like, oh, I can do those needs all day long. 5 years later, you wake up one day, you're like, so I don't have those needs anymore. And he's like, well, I'm not good at those needs.
List.
I killed the first list. I can't do this list. But that's where God has to take that space. And that's where God wants to take, because he's trying to change us and make us more like him.
I heard you guys talk about that on a podcast you did recently. I know I'm not a dad, but I do listen.
Good. We did.
Okay.
Good. We welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. But you guys talked about that very thing of how you change. And Joyce will say the same thing. Like Dave's been married to 10 different women.
Yeah.
But it struck me that day when I heard you guys talk about it, because I thought, I see that as such a scary thing. Like if I see Mike changing and I'm not prepared for it, it feels very out of control for me.
Or equipped for it.
Yeah,
Where you
because I
feel
don't
like
know what
these
to
aren't
do
my
now.
strengths. Like the woman you married, I can crush that stuff.
Yes.
You told me what you needed, but now, and it's really scary. But again, that's all this. That's like the Grand Canyon. Jesus wants to fill. His Spirit wants to fill. To go like, no, you can't, but I can through you.
Right. Right.
And but it's terrifying because you're kind of like, this is not. It literally is not what you signed up for. Like that person you married, who you're like, I can do that. It's not them anymore, and it's not you anymore.
Yeah.
So
But it also comes. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I think about Amy and I, like every year on our anniversary, when I look back at those pictures, it's kind of it's a crazy feeling. Like I feel like, oh, thank God we've made it this far. Like we didn't even know each other.
Yep.
Like I felt like she's my soulmate. And I felt that. But looking back, you're just like, we barely knew each other. We were so young,
There's so much that we all have to learn. You know, I mean, we were right out of college when we got married. We did not know anything. We did not know what we were doing. But with what you guys are talking about, the good news, and it's not, you know, I haven't been married as long as Joyce and Dave or anything like that. But, you know, we've been married, and this is where I would usually call Tim and say, honey, how long have we been married? Because he knows that stuff and I don't. But I think it's 38 years-ish. So it's been a while, and you do go through that where it's like you're figuring it out together, and when you get married, you know, there's some hard things, but, you know, you're kind of figuring it out, and then you begin to change.
Yeah.
And then you need new things, and then your life changes drastically, and then you bring kids into it, and everything's just insane. And it does feel like, oh my goodness, I have to start over and figure all of this out.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'd like to think there's an act 3 that really does begin to just, nothing's ever perfect, but it gets to a comfortable place where you're like, you know, we know how to do this and we are still changing, but we're doing it together. And, you know, we're growing toward the same goals. And yes, there are still days where he wants to argue with his arm around me and I'm shoving him aside or whatever. But you just get to a place where even the harder things are in a way more comfortable and more familiar.
Yeah.
So it's kind of encouraging.
Well, I think you hopefully trust who you're fighting with.
Exactly.
You learn like, okay, we can scrap, but I know you. I know you love me.
And we can
while
end
this
that
is hard,
conversation just like you said and be okay to move on and say, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
And it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of our marriage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think 2020 taught us a lot of this, right? So
That's great.
that I know for us, we could feel the tension of us each growing because there's so much happening. And then we had our own stuff going on, but growing almost seemingly separately as we were working, and God was working through each one of us, teaching us things differently. And it felt really scary. And I know Mike was saying, if you feel like you're learning things and it's different from me and that feels like you're pulling away. And I want you to be with me, not think differently than me. I want to think how I want to think, so don't tell me how to think. So that was walking through a season of us being okay with changing and growing in our own pace with what God was leading us to do, walking through that and then coming to the point where like we made it together. And at the end, like now we're stronger than we were in 2020. But had we given up because it was scary and we weren't changing at the same pace, which could have easily happened, I think we would have missed out on so much good that we're at now. You know what?
It's funny. Christendom, for a while, I think that's one of the things that I would say we probably haven't done well, which is this idea, like, I think growing up in youth group and in church like I did, there was this real idea that like when two became one, they became one. Like you like transformed into one human. And I really thought that. I was like, okay.
Think how ugly that would be.
Oh my God. I mean, Annie's pretty, so hopefully it would be mostly pretty. But like, so what that meant is all of a sudden I was like responsible for her. And sort of what you guys are talking about is it was like anything that we disagreed on was my fault. And as the husband, we need to come together on this because God looks down and he sees me and you sort of behind me somewhere, you know?
That's some pressure.
Well, it is. And it creates crazy codependency, FYI, just sidebar. Not that I know that, but I have a friend who's told me all about it. But the good news is, I think what we learned is that God has a relationship with you. He has a relationship with your husband. He has a relationship with me, with Annie. And while we do have one together, we have a relationship together that God sees. He is working on things wildly independent of me and Annie, wildly independent of her and me.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm not comfortable with that, or I've gotten the wrong teaching or the wrong theology around that, it's terrible. But again, that's where that space has to be of like, the other day she said something that I was like, this is a little scary because it scares me when you say these things. Yep. But because we've done this work enough, I was kind of like, okay, let's just tell me why you feel that way. And we kind of got around the other side of it. But, 5 years ago, it would have been like, you can't say that, you know? And I think, again, it's just this ruthless trust in what God is doing in each of us, giving space for it, and knowing like we're just going to be different some things, and that's okay. Yeah. God is still in control. He's still working.
That's good.
But it's hard to believe that.
That scares me doesn't mean I'm out of here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Are there things that God has just amazed you with that you've really learned about the way that you need to change the way you even think about your marriage and about each other?
So one of I think biggest like seismic shifts that happened in my life was when Amy and I had kids, and particularly like as a follower of Jesus, all this text and like memorized little, verses and sayings that just all of a sudden just came to life, particularly when it came to just unconditional love of a human being. It was like it was the first time where I was like, I feel probably just a fragment of what God feels about all of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just a seismic shift in how I view the whole thing, the whole Word of God, all the promises, all of it. And I think when it comes to marriage in particular, I feel like a lot of what was scary in the beginning, I think that the honeymoon's over cliche thing is somehow rooted in that, like you said earlier, the like, you might bounce, you might leave. Like, we don't have a lot of time under our belt yet. I don't know if this love is unconditional, and just experiencing having kids, having both my daughters, just that unconditional love that you just can't even describe it. And now it just paints everything,
It's true. It's such a glimpse into how God feels about us.
Yeah.
Just even if it's a portion of how much I love my kids.
Yeah.
And then to know that it's exponentially so much more, it really does.
And how
change your
frustrating is
outlook.
it as a parent to you're just talking to your kid. You're like this morning when I was leaving the house and I'm just like tackling my girls and they don't want me to hug them and I'm just squeezing them. And you say all these things that you're just like, I know that you're hearing what I'm saying, but you just don't. Until you have your own kids, you're not going to know
Yeah, so true.
how much I mean this,
One final question for you as we close this out. Anything that women need to know about how you as men hear things or to help us understand you better? Just what insight can you leave us with that will change the world?
Help us.
When we say we had no idea, we really didn't have any idea. And then you say, there's no way you couldn't have No, we genuinely, it's an earnest. We don't know.
That's fair.
I think I would say that that we're different. We're just different, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can hold space for your spouse, knowing, your wife or your husband, it just makes it better. It really does. Like, God meant to do that. The way that he thinks is different than you, and that's actually wonderful. And it makes your marriage great. It will bless your kids because they don't need, two people that think like the mom does or the dad does. And I think that also in your, in your marriage too, just how you treat each other. So I think that's a big part. It's just realizing like, this is just going to be different. And there's going to be things you do not understand. I mean, honestly, as much as John is joking, it's true. Like, there's just times where she's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I kind of don't. And it's great that she can go, okay, we move on. Or if I go, what do you think about something? She's like, I don't care about that. I'm like, how could you not care about this? Go, you just can't. And that's okay. And I will for the both of us, But I think holding that space just makes it a lot better. And knowing that God very purposefully, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? We are both the image of God. And somehow when you put a man and a woman together, that's God. Like, it's not, I mean, we are both halves of who he is. And so I think it's this crazy thing we'll never understand, but it's both.
Yeah.
It's both. And I think you have to hold that space knowing that God's in both those things.
Yeah.
And his character,
It really does help us so much to realize that we are constantly being changed closer into what God wants us to be. And he's so patient with us and he's always working on us. But even changing the way we think, changing our thought process from those things that maybe have been running through our minds since childhood, where we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, whatever it may be, into who God says we are instead. Yeah. We all change in those places that God really wants to take us, and we can bring each other along. It doesn't mean we have to leave one of us behind. So I think that's really beautiful. And then the whole fact that God is always helping us change the way we think. That, when we are annoyed with our spouse or we're making the list of all the bad things instead of all the good things about them, that with his help, we can be pulled together. We can learn to understand each other and see those differences. Thank you guys so much. It's been really fun. Will you come back for us?
Let me think.
Love to talk some more. You guys can talk quietly, vote amongst yourselves.
No, this has
We're
been
going to
great.
vote too, so this is not a one-way street.
That's true. I should have asked Erin actually before I invited.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Jumped the gun on that invitation. We'll get back to you.
Thank you for having us.
It's been so much fun. And we want to remind you that we have some great information for you online to help you walk it out now that we've been talking it out. We've got some scripture for you that will help you renew your mind and help you understand how it's okay that we're all different. And you can get those at joycemeyer.org/talkitout. You can also find out all of our other podcasts, catch up on any of our other topics that we've talked about, and check out Dadville. You're going to have a great time with the Dadville podcast too.
Thanks.
We will see you next time. We've got a lot more to talk about, so be here then. Bye-bye.